Supposed to just keep staring at it, right?
We're live from Southern California studios, and you are watching the North American Hockey Authority, presented by todayscalifornia.com. My name is Craige Campbell with todayscalifornia.com, and I'm joined with Ed Heethuis, my co-host. He is an off-ice official for the AHL Seattle Kraken affiliate, Coachella Valley Firebirds. Hey, Ed, what's going on? Welcome, North America. Thank you for joining us. We're all about educating our collective IQ. Kind of break this up into multiple segments, kind of go fairly quick, 5 or 6 different segments that I think you'll really, really enjoy. We're tuning in at about noon on Wednesdays. We're going to try to work at getting that a little bit faster and quicker. But thank you for joining us. Do us a favor. Let us know where you're watching from. Just put it right there in the comments. And if you have any comments, questions, or anything else, or you want to add to the show, please just join right in. We love it. We love the interaction, and we love you guys. So, hey, Ed, what is going on? It is Wednesday. What's been happening this week?
Wednesday, November 15th. It's been a hell of a week. Our local Firebirds played 3 games in the last 7 days. Some good, some bad.
Well, I think we have a losing record, actually. We'll be talking about that segment in our Coachella Valley Firebird session. A little bit about what's going on with them. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But that's okay. We've got lots of fun stuff to discuss. As normal, we'll open with rules.
Well, actually, I'm going to say something real quick, just as an update, because we talked about Adam Johnson. He is the gentleman with the Nottingham Panthers,
correct,
I believe, who passed away. Unfortunately, actually got cut by a skate. The gentleman who was the other hockey player on the other side has actually been arrested and was booked for manslaughter in the UK. Obviously, that's elevated everything that's going on here, and it really brings to question really what exactly happened and how is manslaughter introduced, say, into hockey. You know, it's an intense thing, and I wanted to get your take on it because I thought it was an important development.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I chose to watch the Adam Johnson tribute videos, and I have not seen the footage of what happened on the ice that night, Craig. This baffles me because A, I didn't see it, and B, I don't know that I've ever seen criminal charges filed as part of a sporting event. It's probably not groundbreaking, but to me it is. This is all new.
And you know, in the end, more than likely, this gets based on video views, or what it looks like on video. And we already know just how difficult that can be because what are the intentions? What really happened prior or after? I will tell you, I did hear a commentary. Didn't do a fact finding or fact check on this, but they were talking about that in some ways he dumped them, like he picked them up and dumped them, and then unfortunately ran over them afterward. So there's an element in there, maybe intention, not necessarily to skate over them, but maybe it was out of context and not within the game, the spirit of the game. That was just one comment I heard. I wanted to bring it up because I think it's I think it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this case gets settled, and at the same time, it's just so tragic, and it just reminds me once again to be thinking about those families and the things that are going on there. So don't want to bring us down, but I wanted to catch us up and let you guys know a little bit about what was going on there. So why don't we get into the rules segment? This is kind of fun. I'll let you take it from that particular point with Mr. Peter Puck.
We get back to my old buddy Peter Puck, who turned 50 years old this year. And today he's going to teach us about the officials that run the game.
Oh, okay, great. Well, we're going to have a segment on off ice, which is you, and on ice officials. Let's see what Peter has to say.
Hockey Night in Canada presents me, Peter Puck, your irrepressible imp of the ice, and exciting NHL hockey. Now about the officials. There is a referee, 2 linesmen, and 2 goal judges. plus some clock watchers and a scorekeeper. The referee, in the striped shirt and orange armbands, is the boss. He's in charge. He starts the game, calls penalties, lays down the law, and his decision in all disputes is final. The referee is assisted in his work by 2 linesmen. Same kind of uniform, but no armbands. The linesmen determine offsides, icing, some penalties, face-offs other than center ice. And they control conduct on the ice.
Welcome back. Thank you, Peter Puck. He's so cool. I love him. You know what I mean? He's just as enticing, or you just want to watch him. You want to learn more from Peter. It's such a great segment. I really love it.
And there's something worth noting with that video being 50 years old back in the day, as I like to say. Call me a boomer. There was only one referee.
Okay, boomer. And
there were 2 linesmen. Now, today we obviously have 2 referees and 2 linesmen.
And so we're talking about on ice officials.
That's on ice.
Because we're going to talk about this breakup. There's not just those officials. There's those that are on the ice and off the ice. But even off ice officials can be on ice at times. Don't want to confuse you, but just want to add to the contribute a bit. So go ahead, tell us a little bit more.
So yeah, the referees are the big guys. Their judgment is final. What they say goes. They are literally the king of the game. The linesmen are in charge of game flow, handle offsides, icings, and face-offs, which is what a synopsis of what Peter was just telling us.
Well, we talked about unique rules, some different types of rules, and things that are going on that ice. We saw in a comment in Facebook, someone was interested in knowing about when the goal gets, say, dislodged in the middle of a game, and that puck rolls right across that ice line or that goal line, but there's no net there. Do we have a goal, or do we not have a goal? And is that even covered?
We actually had that exact situation happen on Saturday night as our Firebirds played Calgary. Yeah, Craig, it's Rule 63.7, and it's referred to in the rule book, in the AHL rule book, as in
rules. 63.7.
63.7 is called an allowed goal. Did you know that the referee can actually allow a goal that doesn't even go into the net? This is exactly what happened on Saturday night. As a play was developed,
or against us?
This was against us.
It was against us.
It was against the Firebirds.
So kind of set it up. So what was going on?
Calgary controlled the play in the Firebird offensive zone. As the puck was being centered to a man in the slot who was about to take a one-timer shot, Alish Stezka, the Firebird goaltender, accidentally, in kicking his left leg out, displaced the net off its peg. The net swung kind of like an open door or an opening gate as the guy was taking the shot. Well, the shot went past Stezna in between where the referee judged the goalposts would be, and the goal was awarded.
Now, do they go back and actually look at each goal? Like you have in, say, the NFL, you'll have reviews and things like that. Do they do the same thing in hockey? And is it every single goal or only those that just uncertain?
We have video confirmation, Craig, where we double check as off-ice officials every goal to make sure that the assist, the primary assist, the secondary assist, and the goal scorer are properly identified. Those statistics are very important to players, and it's critical that we get them right. In this particular instance, the referee, number 86, was in the corner on the goal line, moving in toward the net as the play developed. He watched the play develop. He called the goal immediately, signaled that the net had been displaced accidentally, and there was no need for a review because his positioning was absolutely perfect.
So quick question. One of the off-ice officials that's actually, well, they're standing right outside the rink, so they're at ice level. They are the ones that push the button for the red light when you see the red light go on above the net. Did and does that off ice official, when the net's been dislodged, still, if they see it themselves go across, allowed to push that button?
Interesting protocol for that, Craig. What the goal judge will do, and Peter's going to tell us about that in the next segment. What the off ice goal judge will do, he will look to see what the referee's signal is. If the referee is pointing into the net that it's a good goal,
That's a light.
he will turn the light on.
But he's not going to do it until now. Is he only going to do it even if the net is locked, even if it's still there, and he sees the puck go into the net? Can he then push that button, or is he still looking for the signal from the referee?
Typically, we look for the signal. Doesn't always work that way. Wednesday night against Bakersfield, we had a play where the Firebirds were entering the zone, coming over the blue line, and there was an offside whistle, but because the crowd was so boisterous and so loud, not everybody in the crowd heard the offside whistle. Firebird player took a shot. Goaltender relaxed because the whistle had gone off. Puck goes in the net.
Light comes on.
Light comes on. And then the goal judge looked at the referee, who was emphatically washing out the goal, and he immediately turned the light off.
Now, if you hit the button again, it's a toggle on off.
It'll toggle on and
I
off.
didn't know that. See, I thought there was an amount of time that it remains on there because you see it, but I didn't realize it was a toggle on, toggle off.
Just to show how under the microscope everybody is, Craig, we timed it. The light was on for 0.6 of a second. And yet the entire arena went bonkers, of course, because they didn't hear the whistle. And then the referees became the bad guys.
So is that guy going to still be doing off-ice fishing?
That was,
Officiating.
as I mentioned, that was Wednesday night. I think on Saturday night, Craig, he was handling parking. He had one of those cones. He was just directing people in the parking lot.
I think I saw him out there on Saturday and Sunday.
And I'm kidding.
At his
I'm
new
kidding.
job.
I jest.
Since we're talking about kidding, we ought to introduce our wonderful engineer and producer, Charlie McPike III, and we thank you so much for being in the house. We love him. We're looking right at him, and he's so much fun. He's a fan. You know, he gives us kind of a thumbs up, or he'll laugh, or he kind of looks at us and kind of gives us encouragement. I really appreciate it. But if you could just see the setup and all the lights and everything that's going on to bring this live streaming to you, you'd be quite impressed. He's an amazing man. We're so thankful that we have you here, Charlie. We're here early putting this all together. And with that said, we are live. We are the North American Hockey Authority, and we're live right now in the Palm Desert Studios. My name's Craig Campbell. I'm with todayscalifornia.com. The show is being presented there along with CoachellaValley.com and on todayscanada.com. One of our favorite and most popular places right now is the Canadian Channel. Let us know. Figure. Yeah, isn't that cool? I mean, they like hockey, I think. Listen, guys, just make sure that you go ahead and put your name in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us if the volume's good. Let us know if you're really enjoying this. Please share it. That's one of the greatest things that you could do for us, is that if you just share it with friends, family, you can copy the link afterwards. If you're watching this on a replay, because it may not be live, we're still checking. We're still watching. We're still a part of those shows. So make sure that you add your comments in there, and we'll reply. We want to get, obviously, a lot more interactive, because it's fun to hear from you guys, the fans, and your own thoughts on all these things. Hey, with that, we're still in the rules segment.
Yeah.
Do we have a Peter Puck segment?
We do.
Why don't we roll that, Charlie?
The penalty timekeeper keeps track of the player's time in the sin bin. The penalty box, that is. Now, at each end of the rink, we have another official, the goal judge. One sits behind each goal in a glass booth. When I, Peter Puck, cross the red goal line completely, the judge turns on a red light. The red light remains on for 12 seconds and is sometimes accompanied by a buzzer or siren, depending on the arena. The scorekeeper keeps score and the statistics, while the timekeeper keeps time.
So, hey, we're back. Thank you, Peter, for letting us know a little bit about off-ice, on-ice hockey officials. So, tell me a little bit more about those off-ice. We just got 3 of them presented, but there's actually maybe more than just that.
Right. In addition to the two goal judges, Craig, and the scorekeeper who does the score sheet, and the timekeeper who runs the clock, the game has evolved to the point where it takes a crew of 12 to 14 off ice officials to support the four zebras on the ice. And
I could make a joke about that, but I think we'll just. How many off ice officials does it take?
Well,
12.
Much like the referees, their job is to do their job without being noticed as much as possible. And the off-ice officials, it's exactly the same thing. The less you see of them, the less you know of what they're doing, means the better the job they are doing.
And I'm going to add, because we're credentialed media, and so we have different jobs there too, both in cameras, reporting, video, live reporting, and things like that. We feel the exact same way. Oftentimes we're dark and black and unseen, and it's kind of our job to capture all that's happening, but not necessarily at all be a part of that game, or in some ways, bring attention to ourselves. So similar attitude and thought process. Let the game be the game, and let the fans see the game, and don't let the referees or the media become a part of it, per se.
Yeah, the guy running the clock can have 35 perfect games in a row. The one night is a screw up.
Speaking of clocks and screw ups, I understand that you were on the clock, and you hadn't been for a while. I believe that was Wednesday night. Is that
Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday?
So they brought you back. So obviously on Wednesday you did great, and then on Saturday and Sunday, were you fully running the clock?
Fully ran the clock. Saturday, Sunday.
Right. So Wednesday was kind of the training, and then Saturday, Sunday. I know you were a little bit nervous, of course, and you've already told me, you've done this. This isn't something unique, but it's so much. It's got to be pressure. It's got to feel like if you make any type of error or mistake, that could be a problem.
There's the feeling that there are 20,000 eyes resting on you if things go wrong.
And 12 other off-ice hockey ones that could come down and take your place.
Exactly. Well, we had a very good game on Saturday. We had an excellent game on Sunday from an official point of view. The team, we'll talk about that later on.
Yes, maybe we should move forward a little bit. I know we were going to we'll talk about the Firebird segment just a little bit. I'm just going to give you a little bit of release, give you an opportunity just to talk your heart. This is Ed's Pet Peeve of the Week segment. We're going to have to get some sound effects for that. It's like, yeah, or a horn goes off or something. So that's where we're at right now. We're at Ed's. What do you got for us, Ed?
Well, my peeve of the week comes from the fans, the Firebird fans specifically. Saturday night, we had veterans. It was Veterans Day weekend. So we had a salute to the veterans on Saturday night. Got to listen to a really good band, Lisa Lynn and the Broken Hallelujahs, before the game. The veterans were saluted throughout the game. And there were veteran jerseys last year, Craig, and I didn't see them this year. And yet the fans want them.
Interesting.
Why would the team not sell those third jerseys to A, make the fans happy, and B, I think you're shutting down a revenue source.
And I'm just going to add to that. I think we introduced actually new jerseys. Anyway, we have new red jerseys that actually came out during the Veterans Day. We actually did it on Wednesday too. We had a Veterans Day roundup, and then here we are without these jerseys. What do you think happened?
So yeah, and moving into point B, to Craig's point, the Firebirds showed a permanent third alternate jersey for the first time ever. It's solid red as opposed to the whites or the blues that they normally wear. Beautiful jersey. It's got the 9 palms crest on the front. And then the shoulder patches were the Firebird logo and the Kraken logo.
as a photographer, they're also just the contrast. Really great color. I mean, it's a very deep red, and as a result, it goes good against all the white ice and all the things that are there. So I'm appreciating it. You know, white jerseys sometimes difficult, or lighter jerseys more difficult to pick up. If you just think about contrast of videography,
Right.
ice is all white,
Absolutely.
whiter is harder to see. So I'm enjoying the new red jerseys actually, but the veterans are missing.
Well, the veteran jerseys weren't up for auction this year. They didn't wear them during warm-ups like they normally do. And I think they wore them during the game last year too, but I'm just speculating and relying on a really bad memory. But there were a few veteran jerseys because the people who won them in the auction last year had them. But a lot of fans want to buy this product. Why not make it available? Then on Sunday, they introduced the Sunday Fun Day jerseys, which they're going to wear the red every home Sunday game. And guess how many of those were in the team store, Craig?
I'm thinking not very many.
I'm thinking a number less than one.
Yeah. Was there, were people returning them? Did they get that bad?
The team announced that the red alternate jerseys will be available in about a month, which tells me maybe the week before Christmas. But if you hold your breath, you're going to turn the same color red that those jerseys are, because the track record is not so good on getting the fans what they're looking for in terms of merchandise. And I'm not mad. I understand there's probably a big backlog at CCM to people who make the jerseys, but this valley's hungry to support this team.
It'll be very interesting. Maybe we'll have to do a little bit of research, figure out where those veteran jerseys are. I'm sure they want to sell them. I'm sure they're available in some ways. And like you said, maybe just maybe the production run didn't happen. But now I'm curious, and as a reporter, it's something that I'm going to try to figure out and bring to you guys and understand exactly where these are, who's hoarding them, and where you guys might be able to get them, because I think it's a very important supporting our veterans and during this time. And of course, out here in the Coachella Valley, we have a lot of veterans and a lot of people that have served our country, but we're very thankful about that. So back to veterans.
Come back next week. We'll be selling them to you because we'll find a source.
Yeah, right.
We'll find a source. We'll just sell them ourselves.
Right. I mean,
I'm sure the team would love us.
It's got a big one. We got different sizes. We'll be coming at you, so be looking for that. Right?
Yep.
You know, we should just say we will go to Snipes, Chirps, and Snipes, but we should just continue on about the Firebirds. Let's talk a little bit about Oh, that is, yeah.
Tough 3-game homestand for our Birds. They came out of the box, beat Bakersfield 4-2 on Wednesday. We were really happy about that. And most folks don't know that we faced Calgary last year in the playoffs. That 5-game series went all 5 games. Game 5 was decided at our Bird Barn, the Rink of Fire, but it took 3 overtimes. They literally played 2 games.
And we were 4-4 in the season. So we were, and on
Correct.
A point total, we were back and forth. So really, Calgary and the Firebirds end up becoming, the Wranglers and the Firebirds end up becoming, the 2 top teams in the entire league.
They were
points throughout. And as a result, they were competing against each other. And the playoff game comes down to a 5-game, which is interesting because I believe that the Wranglers actually had a better point total, and that game should have been played in the Wranglers arena. But I think they had some conflicts, not really.
When you've got massive amounts of travel, Calgary's 1,800 miles away from here. So it's really tough to do 2-2-1-1-1, which is what the NHL would do if they did a 5-game series. So the AHL breaks it into a 2-3 series, and the first 2 games are at home. The second 3 games are on the road, and the team with the most points gets to choose that. Calgary, having the ultimate faith in their home ice, chose to have the first 2 games on their home ice and the other 3 down here in the Coachella Valley. Their thought was, we win the 2 games at home. We just have to win 1 out of 3 in the desert. There's no way we can't do that.
Well, they didn't, and it was a mistake. It was a mistake at the beginning, having coached all the way, coach college football at home game, especially with the Firebirds. He was up, and it really could feel in his state. I feel like the Calgary team made. And why would you ever go up in court and finish? Just
Well, coach had a history of doing this. Did it the year before with great success. He did it in the series before ours. He chose to play where they had Texas in the first round for them. He chose to play his first 2 games at home. They beat Texas both games. Went down to Texas. All they had to do was win 1 out of 3. They won the first one, swept the series.
So it's kind of like you said, momentum. In some ways, in the NHL, when you have or let's just go back to football. When you have a coin toss, you can choose to defer. You could kick off, or you can choose to take on the ball and take on offense. So I kind of see that if you're aggressive and you're up 2-0, it maybe would put a lot of pressure on a team like the Firebirds, which, by the way, were inaugural. I mean, they'd never played together. That franchise has never been in the Calder Cup. In fact, they'd never played in the AHL until
Nobody
last
heard
year.
of them.
So here we are, a little bit different team, and Calgary comes in to play us on Saturday, and this is an important game for us. And unfortunately, didn't feel like we showed up.
Yeah, it was really weird, Craig. I watched Calgary played in San Diego on Friday night. And at the 13-minute mark of the second period, Calgary had a 6-0 lead on the Gulls. Now, granted, the Gulls,
Last place,
they're last place.
They're struggling. Mm-hmm.
But they literally kept the throttle down and just killed them. And I thought, you know what? We're going to be in good shape. They're going to be tired coming into our place on Saturday. Well, it was anything but that. And I do think that earlier in the week, the fact that the Kraken called up Shane Wright and Ryan Winterton, 2 of our youngsters who have had very hot starts.
I mean, their production levels and assists and goals were extreme, a part of every single win that we had, and very important. It's the nature of AHL, as they are literally a roster extension to the NHL teams. And so in this particular case, there was injury, some change-ups in that NHL lineup, and they're going to take our players that fit those positions and move up, which instantaneously we lost a lot of production. And it isn't like you can just throw in another line member or a player, or even if you brought somebody back down. It still seems like it takes quite a bit of time to kind of reintegrate and get those lines and production levels back up. So we lose them, that changes everything. Well, guess what? We've got them back now, coming up for the next couple of games, both those guys, but we lost Potsy. So now he's gone up. Be great to have all 3 of them in the lineup and playing together. And hopefully Shane and the other gentleman will make a big difference and be reintegrated back into the
one constant in the AHL, the one thing you can always count on is change.
Well, that's true. We lost Joey Decor, our amazing goalie. I mean, this close from a Calder Cup championship in his first year, seventh game, overtime, was so hard. We're still feeling here as the Firebirds, and we're rooting for Joey. And we're all trying to assess. I think like pitching in baseball, such an important thing. Goalkeepers in soccer, your quarterback in football, and the goalkeeper in hockey seems to be really one of the largest factors of win-loss, and it really can come down to that particular person. It seems that we're having a lot of success ourselves and shots on goal. And it seems that we should be winning games based on our shots on goal totals, but that's not happening.
It's not. And I can provide a little bit of insight, Craig. As you mentioned when you were talking about the playoffs, Coachella Valley was a brand new team last year. There was no history, no film, no reputation, and no expectations. Teams coming into the building had no idea what to expect when they saw the Coachella Valley Firebirds play.
That is such a good point.
A year under our belt, and after running 5 series in the Calder Cup playoffs, everybody's got a ton of video now about the style that Coach Dan Bilesma is playing. It's virtually identical to the Seattle Kraken. The team focuses, some will say too much, but they focus a lot on the cross ice pass, the Royal Road pass from one side of the ice to the other in front of a goaltender, looking for high percentage shots. If there's one thing Calgary did on Saturday night, they took that away. And our lack of the ability to adapt to losing that lane left us with nothing to stand on in a 5-3 loss.
You know, a lot of times you'll see, say, a quarterback in the NFL gets hurt, and the replacement comes in and ends up with like an MVP, game, and everyone's like, well, why in the world would they not be using that quarterback instead of the first string quarterback? Because that guy had an amazing game. And oftentimes they say the same thing. No film. Nobody's been watching him.
No idea.
A rookie quarterbacks sometimes have the most incredible seasons. And then the next year, they're literally like, what happened to that guy? Well, they got film on it. They know his tendencies. It's every single movement, left or right, with a probability to it. A slap shot at the point of whatever angle he misses, high or low, whatever it might be. And all these things get learned, practiced, and integrated in if you're a good coach. And it makes the player that seems so spectacular maybe a little less than later on, because people are always adjusting. So I think that's a good theory, that the Firebirds had a great opportunity to have a lot of tape. But I still think, I'm going to go back to it. I think Joey had a lot to do with us picking up wins that maybe, I'm not sure this year what's going to happen. I'm waiting for that goalie to really, turn it up. And I don't know what will change. Like, what will help you as a goalkeeper knowing all this? Does it get better? Do you make an adjustment that really gets you beyond the stats that you're having? Or are we going to have a challenge with the current goalkeeper situation? I'm asking you the question.
I'm going to start this out by saying this season I have become a Chris Drieger fan. And I'll explain why. But I'm going to backtrack for just 1 second, a little bit, 1 second. In hockey, much like football, when you put in that backup quarterback, he has a phenomenal game, goes on to have several phenomenal games. Same thing happens with goaltending in the NHL, because there's no film on the goaltender coming in. They don't know what to do. They don't know his tendencies, his strengths, his weaknesses, etc. The next year, things get back to normal. And it's often referred to as the sophomore jinx. Your sophomore year is really tough because people are now focusing and they've learned your game. And now you've got to learn your game, elevate your game, and even change styles a little bit as far as goaltenders go. Now, in terms of Joey Daccord last year, Chris Drieger this year, I wasn't the biggest Drieger fan last year. Last year, I felt like, personally, I felt like he didn't feel that he deserved to be here.
And we had Gibson too. You got to remember early.
We did.
Played Gibson quite a bit in that, and so the rotation was different until
We did.
he came in. And Joey also was performing at such a high level that you could see Dan really made a decision. I heard him in the press conference really saying that Joey's his guy.
Right.
And as a result,
Joey put the team on his back.
right.
And so now you're Chris Drieger. You've played 70 games in the National Hockey League. You're an NHL goaltender. You go down during the World Championships. You injure your knee. You have to have surgery. You have 7-month rehab. You're sent to Coachella Valley to rehab, get game time. And Joey is so hot you can't even get on the ice. That's a perfect recipe for resentment. And I never felt, I have no personal knowledge of Drieger being resentful last year. Maybe I'm interjecting my own feelings of how I would feel being in that position. But I didn't feel last year like he was an integral part of the team. He'd give up a soft goal and the team would just head out to center ice to take the face off. Joey gave up a bad goal. The defenseman especially would come back,
All bring love,
tap him on the pads,
bringing him back,
and go, dude, it's okay. We got you. We got you. It's all fine.
Let's go.
I didn't see that last year.
Interesting.
But I'm seeing a change this year. Drieger wants to be here. I'm seeing it. I can see it during warmups. I can see it in the way that his teammates are reacting to him. And I'm going to throw an incredible stat at you here, Craig, because we pulled this up prior to the show. And I'll be honest, it floored me. Chris Drieger's save percentage this year, 2023, is .928. And basically what that means for the fans out there, for every 1,000 shots he would face, he's giving up 928 goals. For the entire...
Oh, wait a second. Start again. Out of every 1,000, he'd be giving up
928 goals. Or 928. He'd make 928 saves.
Okay, there you go. Okay, perfect.
Thank you, producer Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would give up 72 goals out of 1,000 shots. For the entire season last year, as lights out as Joey Decord was, his save percentage was .918, meaning he would give up 82 goals on 1,000 shots.
So basically, based on that particular stat, you're saying that our goalie currently really maybe even has a better
He's stopping more shots
currently, but something's still a little bit different.
Here's what's different, Craig. I'm going to interrupt you right there. Here's what's different. We are giving up, meaning the Firebirds, are giving up way too many shots. The Firebirds outshot their opponent 90% of the year last year. Sunday, they gave up 49 shots on goal. 49.
It's so many. And then I remember even last year when we gave up 45, Joey pulled a goose at me, was a shutout. So we would get, even then, he could pull it up at 49 shots a game. And being behind on that total puts a lot of pressure on the goalie because the puck is always in your defensive end. And as a result, I would assume the goalie's working harder for all those games. Much tougher, always alert, can't even breathe when the puck's at the other end of the ice, which I think has to be important for a goalie to be collected again, reset, re-go. If you're just always on, pressure's on you, I could see the mistakes coming, a little bit more difficult. You're not sure if it's coming right or left as opposed to a setup where it's coming all the way from the other end at you, and maybe you're just feeling a little bit more in control. So I could see all those making a difference. I'm going to add another thought because, Charlie, you and I were talking about one-way and two-way contracts, which are very important. Last year, I believe Joey had a two-way contract. And my understanding, if you have a two-way contract and you're an AHL player, your maximum take $88,000 in a season. Now I don't know what Joey was getting paid, but AHL players that are two-way, it's $44,000 to $88,000 a year in salary, and that's a typical pay for those AHL players. When you have a one-way contract, Charlie was explaining to me, you're actually getting your NHL pay, not your AHL
Correct.
pay. Where two-way is going to get AHL at the lower level pay, and if you're playing all your games, I believe the highest pay is $88,000. Now I could be off on that, but I'm pretty sure that these numbers are close. Just to show you the distinction. When Drieger came down, what is he making?
He's on a one-way, and he's at, I want to say 5.3. It was a $5.3 million contract. I don't know how many years it was.
So he's making 10.5 over 3 years.
Okay.
So he's making 3.3.
So let's think about
3.5.
So Joey, I don't even know what, we're going to have to look this up, but he's playing along with all these.
He signed a 1.2
this year. But last year, I believe he was on a AHL typical contract, not.
I believe he was.
Okay, so think about it. So as a camaraderie thing, when the goalkeeper who's making $3.4 million comes into the locker room, and everybody else is making $88,000, there might be a bond with Joey and others that are kind of in that same boat. Now
and it's tough to break into.
And now you get this guy who's, making $10 million, and you're just trying to get into the league. I just wonder if that makes a difference. Now this year, like you said, he's here. He's the goalie. All that's out the door.
He's the man.
And he's looking also for a way to move back up. But really, maybe he's settling in and will settle in and just have an amazing season. Yes, go ahead.
I believe he made I'm seeing this quote,
Yeah.
$750,000 last year.
Okay, so this is Joey.
Joey.
Okay, so he's still making a lot of money, but he's making 1/4 of what the other guy's making and moving his way up. So obviously, I don't know everything there is to know about contracts, but there's a huge difference in these one-way, two-way, and also AHL setup versus NHL. All these guys are cracking for the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Their contracts are with the Seattle Kraken. That's the way it works. Mm-hmm. And Seattle Kraken own those AHL, or the NHL teams actually own these affiliates, and they're an extension of rosters. Very complicated. But I just wanted to throw that in there. I wonder if making a few more dollars is a little tougher to be accepted and brought in and high-fived and to get close to. And also I wonder if they thought maybe he wouldn't stick around because he would come down, and I wonder if they thought, well, he's just going right back up to the NHL. So that's also difficult to bond if the guy's not, there only a couple of games and then out again. So there's some thoughts and some theories on what's going on this year and kind of our segment on the Firebirds. You know what? I know. Yeah, there you go. So we're going to get into snipes and chirps and snipes real quick before we get into point, counterpoint, and those will be our last two segments. Once again, National Northern American Hockey Authority. That's what you're watching. We're here in Southern California in our studios. My name is Craige Campbell with today's California.com. I'm here with Ed Heethuis. He is the AHL off-ice official for the Coachella Valley Firebirds.
One of many.
One of many. We've already had that conversation today. And we're right back at you. So let us know where you guys are watching from. Leave some comments and continue to support this show. We'll be back Wednesdays at noon, as close as possible, to continue to talk about elevating all of our collective hockey IQs. That's the whole idea here. Let's talk about some things that we all might learn, and including you guys, where you could tell us maybe things that we don't know about. So with that, let's get into the chirps, snipes, and chirps segment.
Snipes and chirps, Craig. This week, it just goes to show I've been doing this for 7 decades now. Or as in parts of 7 decades.
Wait a second. 7.
Yes.
I know.
He's old. 7 decades.
I didn't know
60s through the 20s, late 60s through the early 20s is 7 decades. And I learned something this week. I learned something every week. I learned something every day. But what I've been referring to as hockey chirps forever, because being a native Michigander, chirps were chirps, and that's how we talk to people. My research this week led me to learn that in the western part of Canada and along the west coast, the players refer to it as beaking. Instead of chirping, they're beaking. They're using their beaks.
So it's the same bird reference.
It's the same bird reference, just it's a bird of a different color.
Gotcha. One's pecking.
And there's a pecking order, I'm sure. Yeah. So anyway, I had to laugh. The beak of the week. Kind of like the way that I like the way that flows.
I like it too.
We may have just coined something.
Yeah, we might just go to the beak of the week.
The beak of the week. Guy's looking at his buddy getting dressed before the game. The guy's been scratched for 9 straight games. He was healthy. He was ready to play. Didn't make the starting roster, but practiced with the team for 3 weeks. Finally got the okay to play. He's getting dressed. And his teammate looks across the locker room while he's tying his skates, and he goes, "Who let you dress tonight? Make-A-Wish?" That's just really near and dear to my heart.
I'm a little confused by that.
Oh, anything to get the adrenaline
it sounds
going.
Like a culture a little bit.
Get the back of the neck hot, get him involved, get his pulse up a little bit. He's probably gonna chirp or beat back. And that's just the lively banter that happens in a locker room beforehand. But I thought, who let you dress? Make-A-Wish was just absolutely hilarious.
That's brutal. I'm sure Make-A-Wish is probably.
And of course,
call us up after
we
this.
love the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
We do.
Don't get us wrong.
And we've been very involved. Today's California is obviously a very big supporter of Make-A-Wish.
As we backtrack quickly,
a little bit. It's a good joke. It's a good
beak.
Joke. Hey,
it's a great beak of the week.
We're going to get right into point counterpoint, and I'm going to wrap up for today. Let you guys get back to your lunch and whatever that you are doing currently. What's up with point counterpoint this week? I know it's important because you put a lot of thought into this. I know there's a lot of analyzing. You really want this to be one of the most incredible segments. What do you got for us today, Ed?
Not a lot of thought went into this, Craig. I panicked. I was just struggling with a good point counterpoint. But it came up during the week at watching hockey elsewhere out and about. 2 people at our table ordered buffalo wings, and including myself.
Does that mean 3 people? Or
that means
2?
3.
Okay.
3 total.
Just wanted to be clear.
2 people ordered ranch dressing with their buffalo wings. I just thought, oh, how perfectly West Coast is that ranch? Look, folks, buffalo wings, blue cheese go together. It's part of the original recipe from the Anchor Bar in the city of Buffalo, and I'll let you try, but you're going to have a hard time dislodging me from this mountain of Maytag blue cheese that I live on.
It's so easy to know why people do ranch over blue cheese. This is so simple. I mean, I'm surprised that you haven't figured this out.
If it's simple, that's probably why I haven't.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. Off-ice hockey official, Ed Heethuis in the house. We'll have to go back to that segment. All right, let's talk about blue cheese. So when you use ranch, it stays on the wing. It collects on there. Now the blue cheese is chunky.
Mm-hmm.
It rolls off. It gets on things. And let me tell you, when it lands on you and you don't know, when you start to do this and swipe, that blue cheese starts to get everywhere. That's number 1. Number 2, it leaves a much stankier breath, blue cheese, than ranch. And if you think about it, I know you were with only 2 other people. But some of us that actually have friends and we're hanging out, you're going ranch because you don't want to have blue cheese on you. Just FYI.
Okay.
And secondly,
and I don't, do I? Okay.
And secondly, the wings cover the ranch taste and smell. You know, it's just they kind of go together better. So it's just a thought, just something that you might want I mean, do a bib, maybe. Use a bib.
I ended up with 0 blue cheese on me.
That's what you always say, Ed. Counterpoint.
Charlie, I need some help here, man.
Have a mic.
I'm throwing you a line. I'm throwing you a
You're gonna have
line.
to talk
I
loud.
don't like either.
There you go.
Oh, and he comes up empty.
Yeah,
He
there you
puts
go.
the pole over.
Yeah, we're not bringing him back.
Fine.
Hot sauce on
Point,
my,
counterpoint. Oh, well, we tried to bring
Well,
Charlie
you
in.
know what, folks? Help me out. Let us know in the comments. Blue cheese or ranch?
And tell us why.
I'm counting on y'all.
And tell us why.
I'm counting on y'all.
He's counting. He's counting on you. Hey, guys. Craig Campbell with Today's California, and we're so thankful that you're joining us here, North American Hockey Authority, here in our live studios in Palm Desert, California, home of the Coachella Valley Firebirds, the Seattle Kraken AHL affiliate. And we're so excited to come here with you guys and that you're joining us. Make sure that you let us know where you're watching from. And even if it's later on and you're watching this some other time, put your comments in the comment field or anything else that you'd like to send to us and share with us. Let us know if we're missing something or there's some topics that you might want us to bring up and what you think generally about the flow of this show. So with that, Ed.
I'm not even sure about the flow of the show this week, Craig.
Flow
but
of the show. That's another segment we're going to.
Well, that would be hockky here, which is flow.
There you go.
Maybe we got something new.
Good thing we're doing this live. We always go back and see what we said and remember maybe.
This is a good time to sign off.
Okay. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Ed. Talk to you guys next time, North America.
Be good humans.